So today I had a little moan on Instagram about Lucy and Yak, and this is no hate to them. I actually I really like the style, and I guess it's a brand who I see on Instagram, and I'm like, I want to get involved with that. So when they had an outlet announced in my local town, I went to go and visit, and I went to go and visit them yesterday, and it really disappointed me. It really did. And I was saying on my stories how when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have said anything, because as someone with a rare condition, a lot of the time you feel like you're on your own or it's only your experience. Even though I've got loads of brittle friends around the world, you feel like the only person in your town that's got that experience. So you think, oh, I'm not going to make a fuss, I'm not going to say anything. But actually, I put out the story about how I was disappointed with the clothes that I saw in Lucy and Yak. As somebody who is a wheelchair user, sat down with short limbs, the clothes were either really long, like really long legs, really long arms. The fabric was really stiff, and never mind wearing it, but like actually getting it on. Like I've got brittle bones, and I just think that would potentially could cause fractures. And again, it's something that I wouldn't have said because I feel like, well, that's just me, that's just my condition. But when I put my stories out there, people who don't have brittle bones were saying either, yeah, I use a wheelchair not all the time, but when I sit down, it's uncomfortable, or I have sensory um requirements, or things have to feel soft and nice, and actually the fabric there doesn't feel great. It's really tough and scratchy. So it made me realize, like, wait, there's people that also feel the same. And it's really important to share your opinion about things because you never know who you might find that feel either similar or the same. And yeah, so that's kind of the introduction to why I'm talking about this today. Uh, I'm 3'1". How do I find clothes and what do I look for? And that is what we're going to talk about today. So I thought I would give you kind of the snippets of what I search for online because I do mostly shop online just because it's easier, and I know my body really well now that I know what's going to probably work and what's not going to work. So I thought I'd share the features that I search for, and hopefully this might help other people as well. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, it's about the length of the piece of clothing. So I always go for either um, t-shirts are pretty much fine. Like I can wear any type of t-shirt, but if it's straight up and down with no stretch, that's a little bit more difficult. So I'm looking for like A-line, anything A-line actually. So t-shirts, dresses, anything that goes out a bit because I've got a little bit of a booty as well, and I need to be able to cover my bum. Um, so that's the one thing I look for in tops. And then obviously not long sleeve. Always go for either short sleeve or 3/4. This is an example from Marks and Spencer's where it would probably be a 3/4 sleeve on a standard person with long limbs. But for me, it's perfect, and it's a nice jumper that goes down to my knees, and I love this jumper. It's so cozy, it's so flattering as well. I love the colour. Um, so yeah, in terms of tops, that's the kind of thing I go for. And then for dresses, I probably wear dresses most of the time, probably because it's super easy to like get to the toilet. I'm not faffing about. I only have to like sort my underwear out, let's say. And also transferring as well. Obviously, I want to be able to get to what I need to get to without faffing about too much. So again, I always go for A-line dresses. If a dress is really like stiff and just goes straight up and down, and there's no room to like go over my body, it's just not gonna work. And something that I do quite a lot is look at maternity clothes because my body is very similar to someone who is carrying a baby. Like my belly comes out and then my bum comes out lower. So I need that extra space. And maternity dresses are so nice. Like, as soon as I got over that thing of like wearing a maternity dress, I have had so many nice dresses that are maternity dresses, and no one knows. Like, no one's going to say anything. It's just your mindset. And if you feel good and you feel confident, then why not? So I always look for dresses again, either vest top sleeve or short sleeve. And the thing with the vest thing as well is I tend to either, if it's adjustable, like this one, this is like a bra strap adjustable thing, then obviously that's great because I can just make it as small as it'll go. But if it's not, I, a lot of the time for my dresses, will just tie the top in like a little knot. And that works wonders. Mum says I've got like, it's a skill because she can't do what I do. I just kind of have this thing and I like flip it and then it just goes into a nice, neat little knot. So yeah, another thing about sleeves is I never have, you know, those sleeves that are like there's a bit of a sleeve and then there's a hole and then there's more of the sleeve. That obviously wouldn't work for me because I would put my arm through and my arm would just go through the first hole and I'd just have like a flappy, flappy sleeve. So they don't work for me either. And another thing about dresses is you know, there's sometimes like lining underneath. Well, again, unless it's like a line and it goes out like that, that's also not going to work for me because basically the lining rouge, ruches up to like the top of my waist and it's all like folded here and then it's not covering my legs. Then the see-through bit of the dress is just draping down my legs and that doesn't work. So that's why I go for like flowy long dresses and something that's really useful is using my belt as a belt. So I put my belt on here and then put the jumper or the dress over the top, and it kind of just styles it. Because obviously sometimes if you get a bigger dress, it can look like it's just a tent is the wrong word, but it's just like up and down, and it doesn't really, do anything for your shape. But yeah, putting my belt on, that is a really good tip for anyone who's a wheelchair user. You probably know that already, but work with it. Work with what you've got. I definitely try and do that. As I said, I only really wear dresses, but if I was to wear trousers or shorts, obviously I always go for like elasticated waists, 3/4 trousers, and even then I probably might get my mum to alter my trousers for me. One thing that I did go through like an obsession with was cycling shorts because they were really good for me. They were the perfect size for my legs and they felt really comfy and they were like thin material, really stretchy. I don't wear them as much now, but still I've got some in my drawer, like Adidas ones that I really like. So if you can find those comfortable, uh, really soft cycling shorts, I would definitely recommend those. Another thing that I think about and look for is the neckline of tops or dresses. Basically, because I have a very, very small neck, first of all, it's quite hard to wear things that's really like tight up my neck and I want to feel like I can breathe, which is a very normal thing to want to do. So I always look for like a scoop line neck like this, and I think that just balances out a little bit more. But my favorite is a V neck I bloody love a V-neck, and I just think it suits my body so much more. Most of my dresses have got like a nice V-neck, and then if I want to put a vest underneath, just so that I'm not conscious about, showing my boobs, I wear that as well. But that is my go-to, I would say, scoop line or a V-neck. For me, those square tops, they don't work as well just because um the straps end up like going loose because it just doesn't fit my body type very well. Um, I can sort of tie the straps, but then the square is up here and it doesn't really work for my body shape. And to be honest, it's not my favourite on me anyway. So yeah, always go for V-necks and scoop necks. Is there anything else I'm missing? I'm sure there are things that I'm missing, but I can always do a part two. But these are just some of the examples that I find, and I would say don't be afraid to try things out. And you will know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. The sun has just gone in. Rude. What I'm learning, at the ripe old age of 31 is I used to think, oh, I'm not going to say anything because, it's a luxury. It's a luxury to feel nice and to have nice things. But that's not true. Like, we all deserve nice things. You're not making a fuss if you're asking to join in, to enjoy nice clothes. Like, that's not a luxury. It's a necessity. So if that's one message I could pass, it is that. And I'm going to keep telling myself that more as well. So let's do it together. But I hope that was useful, interesting. It wasn't very structured. It was just me kind of telling you what clothes I enjoy looking for. But let me know in the comments, one, if you've got any questions about clothes. But two, what do you look for in clothes as well? And where can you recommend anywhere that I can shop? Because my current favourite places are Boohoo, that's always my go-to. New Look is my second one. And then Marks and Spencer's, can't believe I'm saying it. Young me would have been fuming, but I got this jumper from Marks and Spencer's. Yeah, they've just got some really nice stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, give it a like. Drop me a comment if you fancy it. And if you enjoy these videos, I have a Patreon where you can get early access, join the community, join in the fun. But if you don't want to, that is absolutely fine. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!